Welcome to Two Woke Bonnets, a podcast where we revisit the classic TV shows of our Gen X childhoods and see how well they hold up today. With your hosts, Carol and Joey.
We are being recorded. Hello, everyone. This is Two Woke Bonnets. I'm Carol.
I'm Joey.
And we watch Little House on the Prairie, and then we comment on each of the episodes.
Yes, and we come on from a place of love.
That's right. We may snark on this show a lot. All right, a lot. But trust me, I have had a week from hell, and one of the happiest moments this week was sitting down to watch my Little House episodes for the podcast. So I may joke and I may poke fun, but I love this show, and I also have most of it memorized. So,
it's kind of like with your family. You pick on your family, but if anybody else comes for them, you're like,
yeah. So, don't say I don't love this show, because being a do. But we are on episode
12 of season 1.
God, I knew it was going to be 11 or 12. Yeah, Carol fails the episode guide. The award. So this is a Mary-centric episode.
Yes, so it is Mary-centric. A little interesting tidbit about this. So this was written by Michael Landon. Oh, look, you can see my couch in here. Sorry. No, that takes you out of the aesthetic. Sorry about that. But if I go too far this way, then you see Willie and Nellie. So so this is sorry. So this is a Mary-centric thing. Michael Landon, along with directing, wrote this episode. However, he was in the hospital for this episode. He was sick and then he was hospitalized. Now, I tried to dig up why he was hospitalized. And if one of you guys know, please email us at twowokebonnets@gmail.com. By the way, we have merch now. So we have cups.
We have our little tin cups.
Thank you to Sonia, who did our cups for us. We don't have cups to sell, but we do have these stickers. So if you would like a sticker for yourself, you can do that. So but anyway, so Pa was in the hospital during this filming. This is the first time that he was unable to appear in an episode.
So we don't see Pa at all.
No, you don't see Pa at all, and they mention Mr. Edwards several times, and you never see Mr. Edwards. You also don't see Mrs. Oleson at all. Even though you hear her, you never see her. So there's 3 people that are spoken about throughout the episode that you do not see. And this is because Michael Landon was in the hospital. They had to rewrite the episode, and so it was Mary and Ma-centric. And it wasn't intended. This was supposed to be a Pa and Mary episode. And it ended up becoming a Ma and Mary episode, which I think is interesting. So
it's interesting, but I have to say, this is one of my least favorite episodes. Well, one of my lesser favorite episodes, simply because Mary doesn't act like Mary for half of the episode.
Yes.
And because Ma doesn't seem to know how to discipline the girls, which doesn't seem correct.
But if you realize that the split that she was saying both her lines and Pa's lines, it makes a little more sense. Yeah.
Because, so boy, I was just watching it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
So we go back to Laura narrating at the beginning, although she didn't say, if I had a book of memories, which is good. But she narrates it, and actually the scene of Pa and Mr. Edwards packing up is from a distance because it's not them. And Carrie does say goodbye, Papa. That's the first thing she spelled. And then we learn that Carrie is a very bad speller. So
later on. Either that or she was writing her own little haiku there.
Yeah. It was like EMLF. Yeah. She's not a good speller.
So the girls go to school and there's going to be an examination. Should you call it an examination or just a test?
It's a scholarship examination.
Yeah. And the grand prize is a dictionary, a very nice dictionary, I should say.
A Webster's dictionary.
A Webster's dictionary.
And it's not usually a dictionary, it's usually just a book, but the board donated the dictionary. So,
Yeah. So it came
so
from
basically
the
the
mercantile,
Olsons.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The Olsons wrote it off on their taxes. And Mary full freezes for like 90 seconds while she stares at that book.
Yeah. So
It's okay.
which bingo card did you had? I had bingo card 26.
I don't know if it gave me.
It would be in the upright corner.
This one was bingo card ID 2.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So I did not bingo on this one.
No, I didn't either. But yeah, so she does freeze for a minute.
There.
Yeah, she does freeze for a minute.
Yeah. She wants that dictionary.
Yeah, she wants it very badly. She realizes that a lot of the subjects are not ones that she knows about, especially the book on history. And she tells Miss Beadle, and Miss Beadle lends her a book.
Yes, a very nice book on history, and says this got me through the examination, so I hope it'll help you too. Which I don't know, that seems a bit teacher's pettish there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Miss Beadle readily admits in the end that Mary was her teacher's pet. So Mary can't get enough of this history book, and it's just reading.
Yes.
Reading on walking home, reading during dinner, reading after dinner, and trying to read in bed, but Laura won't let her because she wants her to put the light out.
Yes.
So Mary does something stupid. This one I actually don't mind because, yeah, I probably would have done this when I was a teenager too. She takes the book and lamp into the barn to read, and then promptly falls asleep and kicks the lamp over and lights the barn on fire.
Yes. And then she freezes again. She's not sure what to do. She tries to hit it out, and then she goes yelling for her ma.
Yeah, because
then Ma comes out,
spreading the fire around.
Yeah. So she yells at Ma. Ma comes out. Laura comes out, and Ma is trying to first free the horse. He doesn't want to run through the fire, and then has to free the cow. And the fire is going up the walls. It's the straw, so it's just going up like this. She tells the girls to go get water, and they barely fill it up, these buckets up with any water. And then she has to toss them at them. And then she's taking these blankets are on fire. Okay. And then she's trying to pick up these blankets and snuff them out on top of each other. And then she turns around and she uses a different blanket and she's trying to get out the fire. But after 3 or 4 trips of the girls running with the water, once again, they leave Carrie in the house, so whatever.
They didn't throw her in the water.
Yeah, they snuff out the fire. And Mary,
this is all Karen Grassley moving these animals. This is not a stunt woman.
This is not a stunt person at all. And there is some live fire there. You see it.
Yeah.
You see that it's not CG. This is not the age of CGI, my friend. It's not the age
of CGI on television.
So she has to the thing that's interesting is there is one technical goof in here. If you're watching the episode, she goes from bare feet to shoes on her feet. Probably because she got kind of close to the fire and they were worried.
And she was moving
they go back and forth in that.
Yeah.
So then, Mary just bursts into tears. Ma yells at her.
Oh my gosh.
Meanwhile, I
don't want to disparage Melissa Sue Anderson's acting, but whenever Mary cries and attempts to say lines,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Mary is not a good actress listen, these kids, they're not the kids of acting today. I mean, there are some bad kid actors today, but you know what I mean? Like the emotional depth of these kids is not there yet. Okay.
No.
Laura Ingalls Melissa Gilbert is probably the closest to have an emotional depth. And Allison Ingram does a good job.
Yeah. For what
Definitely
she's given.
Nancy later on has a good
Yeah.
breadth and depth. But yeah, these kids are not doing that. But yes, she just kind
There's
of does
still rough
that.
around the edges. This is still the first half of the first season. They're rough.
Yeah. And no concerns about the book at first.
No.
No conversation about the book. Just keeps telling her ma she's sorry. Now, Ma runs the cow and the horse out, but where does she put them? We have no idea.
I have
And
no
then she
idea.
sends the girls to bed, and now she's trying to deal with making sure the fire is out and bringing it back in.
Yeah. But
And
then
then,
the next day, they're like going back to school, like, oh well, you almost lit the barn on fire, but let's go get some licorice.
yeah. Well, we finally use up the half penny, right?
Yeah.
I owe you a
We
half
finally,
penny.
yeah. They made that penny from Kansas last. Let me tell you.
Yes.
They stretched that. They stretched it quite a bit. But they stopped for licorice at Olson's Mercantile. I want to say Merlin's Mercantile. Olson's
Olson's Mercantile.
And Mary sees a help wanted sign. So she basically just says, I'll take that job. And Nels is like, okay.
As long as your mom says it's okay. But the part of me wonders, like,
This is okay.
how much is it really helping out if she's there while he has to go in the back? Wouldn't most of his business be happening during the day? By the time those kids get out of school.
This is like, it's help wanted because Mary needs $1.50.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He never ever has anyone else help him in the mercantile. I mean, I suppose Willie, his excuse is that Nellie is studying all the time now and she can't help him.
Well, that's Mrs. Oleson that says she can't help out. But she never helped out to begin with.
She never helps out to begin with. So either way, Mary has a job and she's helping at the mercantile and she's studying and she's doing all of the things and she's making herself exhausted at school.
But she's been told by her mom that because of the fire, she cannot be in the examination.
Cannot take part in the examination.
And that is said during the fire, like after it's over. And then but she goes out to the barn and she's trying to make things right. She's trying to clean up the scraps and the things. And that's when she finds the book and realizes it's destroyed. And now she's supposed to go to school and now she's supposed to tell all these things. But
she doesn't want to.
Yeah. So then they go to church on Sunday, and there is Miss, and she's gonna be Pa and Mr. Edwards is gone for 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's how they set it up.
Yeah.
So she goes in, she talks to Reverend Alden, Mrs. Ingalls does, Ma does. And at first you think Reverend Alden is going to be, this is the kinder, gentler Reverend Alden, right?
Yeah.
He sits down and he says all that stuff. And then she's like, but, he said, and you told her she couldn't take the exam out of anger, didn't you? And yet she obviously seems contrite because she's going around doing all these household chores and punishing herself already, isn't she? And she goes, yes. And she goes, and that exam just means so much to her. Do you think I should let her take it? And what does he say?
No.
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 If you give in on this, even though it was said in anger,
okay,
your girls, you will be setting the precedent for the girls that you will always back off. And
first off, Carolyn has every right to be to be angry at Mary because Mary damn near burnt down their barn.
Yeah, and it could have been worse, and she could have killed herself, and lots of stuff.
Yeah, so she has every right to act in anger, and I think because the behavior was stemming from the examination, it makes sense to say you can't take part in this,
right,
as punishment. I realize now, having heard that this part was written for Charles, I understand him going to Reverend Alden. I don't understand Carolyn going to Reverend Alden. What's he going to tell her?
Because she doesn't have a man at home. This is a 20. I put on the bingo card, call this a 2024 unwoke moment. She doesn't have Charles at home to consult with, So she goes to Reverend Alden for his advice, and he decides that he can make decisions on the
Yeah,
family, and he basically forbids her from allowing Mary to take the examination.
yeah. But I agree with not letting her take the examination. But
Oh,
from
I
here
do
on out, Mary
too.
does, yeah, Mary just doesn't act like Mary because Mary's keeping everything hidden from everybody.
Yeah, she just starts lying left and right, but we'll get to
Yeah.
that. I do want to point out one thing. When they come home from the licorice with the Christmas penny, and she runs in to ask Ma for permission to um to
To work.
take to work at the store, Laura runs by, and there's Carrie playing with Jack, and she says, "Hi, Jack." And she just runs by. She never says hi, Carrie. It's like, because that would require Carrie to say words back. And she's already said her 2 lines for that episode. She said goodbye,
One for
Papa,
each twin.
and then she did the little spelling thing
A
with
little
Ma.
spelling thing. So yeah, one line for each twin. That's what they got for each episode.
Yeah, exactly. So it was hijacked. So then, she goes in, and then this is where we see our one kind of guest character. Melinda Foster is in there, and she's trying to buy some goods and stuff like that. And Mary's helping out the store. She's swinging her hair around. She's like, "Let me go write that in the ledger for you." And she's trying to fold up the fabric on the bolt. Did that drive you crazy? As I'm not like a
Yes.
huge listen. I did my seamstress days when I was a teenager because I grew too fast, and so I learned how to make myself some clothes and stuff. And just the way she tried to put the fabric back on the bolts, I was like, "Please stop! You're just making it
Leave
so
it.
much
Just leave it.
worse."
Just
Yeah,
leave it. Leave it for the professionals, please. But she
but
shows up a
yes,
couple of times in a couple of episodes.
yeah. So she does the thing with the bolt, and then Miss Beadle comes in and gets the pound of sugar, and she goes, "Well, it's going to take me a while. I'm kind of new at this." And
Yeah.
she pours it takes her 3 scoops just to get a pound into that thing and pour it in. And then Miss Beadle asks her how she's going to study, and she avoids the question.
Question.
And then she's like, 4 cents, please. And then Miss Beadle's like, "Mary, you're avoiding the question." And then she says,
Oh yeah, I
"Well,
got a
the
lot of
books are
time here.
here." And so then she decides that she's going to not work, and she's going to read books in between
Yeah.
customers. And Mrs. Olson doesn't say anything about this. And Nellie sits there in the open door and watches her do this. And then she puts the I'm sorry, I'm getting very excited. But she puts the stuff on the credit for Mrs. Foster. But then she goes, "Miss Beadle, 4 cents, please."
Your
4
damn money.
cents. And she's like, "Oh, I almost forgot," because she's a teacher, obviously. You
Give
have
me
to
your
get
money,
her
Beetle.
money up front. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, there's no credit for teachers in this town.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so Mary is just not acting Mary-ish. Does
no.
this make you would think she would go to Ma and say, "Hey, I took the job so I can pay for the book because the book was ruined."
Right.
Because even when she brings it home, Ma is like, be sure to take care of that
Yeah.
because Miss Beadle lent it to you."
Yeah. But she
This
never
makes perfect
mentions
sense.
that. So she lies to Mr. Olson about why she needs the job.
Yep.
She lies to Miss Beadle, about why she took the job.
Yep.
She lies to Miss Beadle when she brings the book to class. Wouldn't Miss
Yeah.
Beadle notice that her name is
That
not
is,
written in the front or something? Like,
she would notice
it's
it's brand new. I'm
like
sure she did not get that book from the mercantile because she said
she,
this helped me with my examination. That would have been years ago.
exactly. Hi, Nix. So, but yeah, so that would have been years ago. And then
Yeah.
she lies to Ma about, what she's doing. But
And how
Mr.
much she's
Olson,
making.
yeah, so here's the other thing. So we're told that Mary got lost in reading the books. And so, after the commercial or whatever, there's Ma standing out in the yard, just staring off into space. Because let's remember, no cell phones, no regular phones, no motor cars, not a single
Not a single
luxury.
luxury.
Yeah. And so how did she know Mary was coming? She's just standing out in the yard staring, and
Wait,
then Mr. Olson has to hook up his wagon and take
yeah,
Mary home. By the time
seems
he
like
hooked up his wagon, I'm sure Mary could have been home, right? But whatever. So she
whatever.
takes Mary home, and he says that she was studying.
Yeah. Well,
And
she's reading and it's like, okay.
when Mary and Ma never asks a thing about that. So she's just lying left and right, left and
Yeah.
right. And then the day of the exam comes. She walks back in. She sits there and she tries to tell Miss Beadle that she can't take the exam, but she keeps not telling her. She keeps
Yeah. So
saying,
she just
never
sits there
mind. She
like
does
she's
a
gonna
lot of,
take the exam.
yeah. Listen, if you have Mary frozen on your bingo card, you could have checked it
She
off
just
4 times in this
yeah,
episode.
she just
Okay.
freezes the entire episode.
But she's just lying so much. And Laura knows she's lying, and she's like, "Are you going to come?" They send them out for a long recess.
Yeah.
Well,
So they could take
but
this
play
exam.
quietly, because that's what Prairie children do, is play quietly out in the yard. And there's Laura sitting on the steps. Where's her friend, the one with the shoe
The
problem?
shoe. Look, she ran off with what's his face.
That's right.
Remember?
Yes. But anyway, so yeah, so
The
she's
mom
sitting there, and of course Ma comes to town. Why does she come to town? To sell the eggs. Why does she really come to town? Because she
to check
thinks
on
that
Mary.
Mr. Olson paid her 50 cents for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
because that was another lie Mary told.
Mary like totally threw Olson under the bus. Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
paying
like
me.
in the books, right? In the books, Mary was always the good one, and Laura
Yeah.
resented it because Mary was such a goody two shoes. Yet here Mary lies
Here Mary's
like
like,
her
yeah, you
life
gave me 50
depends
cents
upon
for
it.
3 weeks of work when it was actually $1.50 and she used $1 to buy the book.
And it would have
When
made
you
total sense for her to tell her ma that.
yes, that
I
all
ruined
look,
the
this is
book in the fire.
and even tell Miss Beadle, look, I can't take the exam because I did this foolish thing. And in this process, I ruined your book, but I'm working at the mercantile to get you a new one.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense.
right.
Actually, would have been a better lesson
Yes.
than what this is, which is just lie and your mom will forgive you because you didn't take the test.
Well, because she justifies it at one point that the reason why she was going to take the test, because Ma would be so proud of her if she won it, that she would forgive
That she
her.
would forgive her. That she would just let it go.
Yeah. And so
But
at
then,
the end,
but then Reverend Olden hardened mom's heart.
yeah, so
But in the end, it's all's well that ends well. Okay, now being guys, you
so
guys
then
can't
Ma
hold me up.
finds out from Mr. Olson. Thankfully, she didn't get too snippy with Mr. Olson about the 50
She was getting a
cents.
little snippy
He
there.
said 50 cents a week. And then she walks over, sees Laura sitting on the steps, walks inside, sees Mary writing something on an exam paper, assuming she's taking the exam. But then she decides, and Laura tries to stop her from walking in, and she says, "Laura, don't.
Don't.
And she walks in and she sees Mary, and she turns around and walks back out and walks home. And then they announce the winner. Mary runs out when she doesn't win. And then Miss Beadle says, "Laura, stay after school." Her sister has run off, but stay after school.
But yeah, Laura has to stay after school. Again, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, because then Miss Beadle shows Laura the paper.
Wait, and why
Or
would
she
you
doesn't show her. She just says,
No,
"Let me give you a ride home. I need to talk to Mary."
you need to talk to your mom. And then she shows Carolyn the paper, which apparently, I mean, they don't really show us the paper. I'm assuming it said, I didn't take the test. I burned down the
Yeah,
barn.
she explains that it explains what really happened, as far as we know, because let's just be clear, it
We
could
don't
have
see
been
it.
another lie.
Yeah, it could have been another lie. It could have been like, oh, I dropped Laura made me drop your book in the river.
Yes.
It just this whole thing. It seems like it would have been a much better lesson for the show to teach you to take responsibility for your actions
Yeah.
instead of lie a whole bunch, but it's okay because you didn't take the exam. You wrote this heartfelt message on your paper.
Yeah. So
this is an awkward episode.
Yeah, it was. So, and then some kid we've never seen before wins the award, and he's like,
Nellie won it. They didn't even throw Nellie a bone.
Yeah,
I
like
guess
Nellie
she
didn't
probably
win
got
it.
dictionary in the mercantile. Why does she need another one?
I know, right? Like, so anyway, yeah. So once again, Mr. Michael Landon was hospitalized for an illness, had to be written out. Mr. Edwards didn't appear. Mrs. Oleson, we only hear her off. Let's talk a little bit about. We didn't have any special guests per se, but let's talk about one of the characters. So Melinda Foster, we see her in the store. She's the lady that buys and puts the stuff on credit. Her name was actually Ruth Foster, so they went really far stretch on Mrs. Foster. But she ends up appearing in about 61 episodes. This is one of the first episodes we see her in. But she's one of these background kind of things, but she does get a couple lines here or there. The interesting thing was when I was looking through, first of all, she doesn't appear in Bonanza. She doesn't appear in Gunsmoke. So sorry, no buttons for that. But when I was looking at her IMDb, she was nominated for 2 awards, a BAFTA and a Cable Ace Award. And I was like, really? So I looked through all her catalog, and she is never more than a secondary actor anywhere. So I clicked on the link to the BAFTA award. She was nominated for a BAFTA and a Cable Ace, both for the same project. She was in charge of video editing for Paul Simon's Graceland documentary.
Well, there you go. I think she actually takes over the mailroom when Grace Snyder leaves that job.
Yeah.
I know she takes over some job in the town where you see her often in the background.
Yeah. So like I said, she's somebody that she's just there, but interesting. So I thought that was really kind of cool. So that's the award. And next up is going to be that somebody actually did get an award, not Mary. So
just not Mary. No. She got the award of mom's respect for some reason.
Oh yeah, because what does she do? She sits out in a tree under a hill. What does she think? I'm just gonna sit here till Ma comes, and then we have this heartfelt. So we did have the running up the hill, down the hill moment. So you could click that on your bingo card.
Yeah,
I got 4 clicks on my bingo card. I have bingo card number 26. I got the Mary Frozen. I got Justice for Jack. I got the running up and down the hill. And I think I did get the Ma cries and the Mary cries. Laura cries. Because Laura does cry. Because
Laura does tear up when she's in there.
Yeah. So I got 5.
Okay. It looks like I got 4. But no bingo.
No bingo this week.
Better like next week. Where we will have a big episode because it is a 2-parter. The Lord is My Shepherd, parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Join us then.
If you've been with us from the beginning, we're doing singles by themselves, but if there's a multi-part, we're going to watch them all and talk about them all
together. Yes. Yeah. So we'll talk about the Lord is My Shepherd.
It'll be episodes 13 and 14. So pull out your bingo card. You can go ahead and use one bingo card for both episodes. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. We will see you then. Until next time. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Two Woke Bonnets. To find out more and to download your bingo card, visit twowokebonnets.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever fine video and audio podcasts are played.